Welcome to the Strong for Life podcast. I'm your host, Conor O'Shea, and today I'm joined by Keegan Smith. So, Keegan, welcome to the show, mate.
Thanks for having me on. Super excited for it.
Yeah, likewise. We were just saying before we hit record, I've had this show generally is around nutrition and fitness, and I've had like one of my clients is one of the top child psychologists in Ireland. I had him on yesterday as well. But when I think about you, there's just so many different things, like obviously the fitness, the nutrition side of things, but then wealth and travel, languages, all these things. So I think we're going to be bouncing around a lot today just to see where you're at. But before we jump into all that, do you want to maybe explain or give a quick overview of who you are and what you do?
So the bit of the background is grew up loving sport and wanted to go to the Olympics. That was kind of the first really strong vision that I had. I presented that at school when I was like 12 years old. This is what I want to do. And then I had a lot of injuries along the path to that, which I think a lot of people can identify with. You want to be that top athlete, but the body is like not quite doing what you wanted to do. I was really slow, and so I needed strength training to be able to be close to making that Olympic dream. And then I think the way I trained also probably contributed to more injuries and stuff. So that was like quite an early experience of strength training and wanting to be an athlete. And then, as a lot of people do, maybe in my late teens, early 20s, I just had that uneasy feeling like the world isn't really meant to be this way. I need to go and explore. I need to figure out what is actually going on here. Why are people doing these things for 40 years that they don't really want to do? Why is everybody in debt? Like, I just don't get it. And so I went and traveled for almost all of my 20s. I left Australia when I was 21, and I didn't move back until I was like 30. So yeah, just before my 30th. So during that time, I learned a bunch of different languages, and I learned a lot about the world. I learned a lot of history. I met all sorts of people. I hitchhiked. I slept on floors. I worked all kinds of different jobs, and basically was a vagabond explorer for most of my 20s, in between pieces of being a strength coach. So I was a strength coach when I first moved out of Australia. I worked with the London Broncos for a year, and then at the end of that period, I worked for the Catalan Dragons. So just when I decided like, this vagabonding is harder work than it looks, and wanted to actually do something that helped somebody a bit more, find some more purpose, and something that I was good at. Then I went back to strength training and worked with the Catalan Dragons, which turned to working with the Sydney Roosters. Every year, those teams kind of did better than the team had gone the previous year, and that led to opportunity with mentoring other coaches. I kind of knew from the start that I didn't want to be a rugby league strength coach forever as kind of my thing. I knew after all that travel, I kind of knew I wanted to have some kind of impact in the world that was beyond success in elite sport. But I did, I was fortunate to be in a good environment for success in elite sport, and I contributed as much as I could. I don't know how much that contributed to us, winning and setting records and stuff. But and so then, I'm getting really long-winded, Hunter. I've been mentoring coaches since 2014. And I had a brand called Real Movement Project, and then I started working with ATG for coaches, and now I have Uncommon Success and ATG for coaches that I work for. So a little bit of the background.
Yeah, I think that this is kind of a good place to maybe go into is mentoring, because I first came across you. I was in Melbourne. I did an apprenticeship in Fifth Element Wellness with Dave O'Brien, and then also I was training at Paris Little's gym in Praxis, and
Wow.
that's when you first came on the radar. And then I just kept on seeing these people popping up, and they seem to be coming from Real Movement, all of these real high level athletes. So maybe do you want to just talk about the mentoring, maybe spotting talent, developing people, and maybe how that journey started for you?
Yeah, I don't know if I knew that. If I did know it, I've forgotten. But Paris and Dave are like two of the highest level coaches. Like, you really landed in a great place.
Yeah, I did.
Dave's coming over here soon. We get on really well. He had me down to his gym to sort of mentor his team of trainers a few times. It was such a great place to be, that Fifth Element Wellness that Dave and his partner put together. It's a phenomenal training facility, like holistic wellness. And yeah, Paris is one of the most knowledgeable coaches and dedicated, just phenomenal. He did a little bit of work for me for a short period of time there, one of my attempted projects with helping CrossFitters. But the question was about like spotting talent and things. I don't think I so much try and spot talent. It's people come to me and say like, this, I don't go looking for people. I met Dave at a Poliquin event, and we were both just there as students, and then we sort of stayed in touch a little bit, and he asked me to come and work with his staff. He knew that I was working with professional rugby league and whatnot before that. So yeah, and Paris, I'm not sure exactly how we got in touch, but generally, yeah, people with ambition who can see that maybe I might know something, or I might have some connections that might help them to get to where they want to go a little bit sooner. They'll get in touch. Sometimes like Lucas Aaron, who has Range of Strength brand, our relationship started like this as a podcast. We did a podcast, and then in the podcast, I was like, I think we're a really good fit to work together, man. And at the time, like, I wasn't really making any money. I think I offered him like $500 a month to work together. Like, I was just getting a new thing off the ground. And like 12 months later, we had 500 members. He was doing tons of the legwork. We had this Range of Strength. I was using the name Range of Strength all the time in my terminology because I liked it better than strength through length. But we were working, alongside Ben Patrick and stuff. And Lucas worked for me for 12 months. And then he kind of could see that he wanted to do his own thing, and like full transparency, like it was tough when he left. And it was, different factors in that. But like that's how it started with Lucas, was literally like a podcast with Ben Patrick. I just saw his stuff on Instagram and said, like, the world needs to know this. Like, this is really important. Somewhere in our conversations, like, it was really clear to me that he was special and that he had special knowledge that people don't have. And it's different with each of the stories. Graham Tuttle is another one now, the barefoot sprinter who's
had him on a few weeks ago. Really interesting guy.
I saw that. So I think he's going to change the world as much as anyone in fitness as well. And so it's just it's really exciting to see people explore their potential, realize that they can do a lot more than they thought they could do. Go from a position of kind of frustration and not doing what they want. Like Lucas, I think, had 5 online clients when we first spoke, and he wanted to get out of the job that he was in, and 12 months later, he was in a really good position to go his own way with his business. I think he has hundreds of clients and a really strong brand that's growing faster than mine. He's got more followers than me on Instagram now. So it's that's the goal. I mean, Graham's got many multiples in mine, and that's the goal for me. Like,
because I came across him. You posted it. You were like, Graham, check out Graham Tuttle. I think you congratulated him on getting 20,000 followers, and I started following him then, and then now he's got like 160 or 200, something crazy like. But yeah, his stuff is really good. With regards to training, you're doing strength and conditioning, then you kind of got into Ido Portal stuff for a while. Would that be kind of the trajectory? And then you've kind of gone into the more ATG approach, or would it be long range, short range? Would that be kind of the way you'd describe it?
Yes, I've pretty much been into every system. Like, I'm an explorer type, and I want to know about everything. So I tend to do a deep dive, as deep as I can, as fast as I can, into anything that intrigues me, whether that's in training or other areas. But yeah, I went to the Ido Portal internship in 2013. The team that I worked with won the grand final against all the odds. Like, we weren't even predicted to make the finals. We ended up winning the regular season, winning the grand final, setting an all-time record for defensive teams held to zero, opposition teams held to zero. The next day, I flew out to Ido Portal. So while everyone was drinking, I was like preparing to go to Thailand. And I've been to a number of his events. He had a huge impact on the way I look at training. I love that he's invented a new genre of training in movement, and he's a pioneer in so many ways. It's not just the method; it's also the marketing and stuff, which he really took things to a new level. I think I've paid the most money to him out of anyone in strength and conditioning. Like, I've invested more in business courses and stuff, but I think I've actually paid the most money to Ido Portal for knowledge, which was money well spent. And still, I'm very grateful for it, because I can, do handstand and muscle ups and all sorts of different things that I wouldn't have been able to do if I hadn't have had that influence. And you know, you could say, oh, you would have learned it from someone else, but like it was him. He's the one who put it all on the map. You mean there was gymnastic bodies as well. Right? I did a bunch of stuff with Coach Summer there at one stage. But yeah, Ito did something really special in terms of the way he got it out. I mean, so did Coach Summer as well, to be fair. In terms of, yeah, like I was really into the Poliquin. I was really into everything, to be honest. Like I love so many different systems, so many great coaches. Pavel Tsatsouline and Dan John stuff has had a huge impact on me. There's a lot. When I came across Ben Patrick, it was the fact that he was using the sequence of Poliquin movements and valuing them differently to anyone I'd ever seen. So people say, oh, it's just the Poliquin stuff. It's like saying a cake is just made from sugar, flour, and eggs. It's like, yeah, okay, but someone's going to pay $1,000 to go to a Michelin, 3-star restaurant to have that sugar, flour, and eggs, and another person is going to make some lumpy thing that no one wants to eat, which would be what I'm not a cake maker. It matters how the things are sequenced, how it's put together, how it's delivered. Like all of those details are what make and Ben, it was clear that his training system was taking things to a new level. And since then, he's taken fitness marketing, fitness business, app development, custom app development, which is about to come online. He's taken a coach support in the pulse of ATG is like absolutely phenomenal. Like he's taken so many things to a new level that I haven't seen. I've been in everything. I've looked at everything. I've bought everything as much as you can. And there's been anything like Ben Patrick in the fitness world as far as I've seen. And Graham Tuttle was actually pretty pioneering. I think he's going to add some different flavors to things as well, which is just super exciting. It's just great. It's great seeing people take a unique approach to things and execute and win. I would say the best coach at using that long and short range would be Nico Di Paoli. He's also an ATG for coaches coach, motion guy. He's building a village.
Programming. I've been doing this programming for the last 4 months. That's what I'd like you to maybe explain the short and long range in a bit more detail, because I've been following his programs. I think they're brilliant, but I still don't completely maybe grasp the concept. But yeah, he's another one of your kind of he's kind of learned a lot from you over the years. Would he have?
He worked for me for a little while, maybe a few months, when I was just trying to get real movement off the ground again, like a bit before Lucas. And yeah, like we were talking about everything, goals for life, building apps, training systems. And yeah, Nico's he's executed what I would execute if I was good at the details of execution. Like he's done exactly what I would have done. It's the best representation of real movement training system is kind of what he's done. And he's got his own flavors and his own details, and he's gone in different directions. Full credit to him. But if there was one person who's nailed what I wanted to nail, it's Nico. And he's got his custom app and stuff as well, which just keeps getting better. So it's super inspiring to see. I think he's 26 or something, and he's living the dream of. He's got his own custom app. He's got good following and good number of people doing his program. He keeps making that better and better. And he's setting up a village in Bali. He's got a gym in the city in Bali, and now he's setting up another site. So, but yeah, the short range, long range thing. The best way to understand it, if you don't understand it yet, is to go to my YouTube and watch the videos about it. There's sort of 20-minute videos that break down all the things in a way that I'm not going to be able to right now. Yeah. But there's videos there about tension as well, which is a key concept that I don't think strength coaches are thinking about as much or as well as they could. I think that, that's sort of my contribution to ATG for coaches, is to help to decode why the program is so successful. Ben is phenomenal at upgrading the program and getting the message across and the actual programming, an exact cookie cutter clear thing that people can follow and execute on, that is extremely successful. It's not gonna it's really highly successful for something that is anyone can jump on. My role within the system has been to explain why is it so much better than everything else that we've seen, so much so that there's just thousands and thousands of people who've said, this changed my life. I worked on this for so long. I had these surgeries and did all these things. And this was the thing that worked. So in my way of thinking, like that's what I've put onto YouTube is like exactly why the program works. And within ATG for coaches, my goal is that people actually understand it and study it properly in a way that people often don't on YouTube. You might watch it once and then sort of move on. But a number of people have told me they've watched the videos like several times and it's changed the way they think about programming and stuff. Nico gets it very, very deeply and he's applied it very well. And like his training has gone to another level since he's applied that short and long range stuff in great detail. Like he didn't have a lot of the movements that he has now. It's specifically like building specific strength in specific positions with specific logic has helped him to take it to another level. I'm not as dedicated to my training, like full transparency. I love business so much. I've had family. I've been moving around. I haven't had a gym. Like excuses. But I'm not the best proponent of my own system. I'm okay. I'm training, but I'm not like him and Ben are like applying, and Lucas as well. Like they're applying their own stuff phenomenally well. I plan to do that over the next little bit. In a nutshell, though, to answer your question, short range is when the muscle is in a shortened position and you're flexing the muscle. So if I was like laying forward on bicep curls, like spider curls, then that would be a short range movement. Even if I'm letting the elbow, even if it's full range of motion actually means nothing to me. It matters like where the movement is difficult. So in a spider curl, the movement's difficult at the top when the muscle is short. What that means is you're going to have a strong muscle-mind connection. The neurological gains are going to be strong, but the structural gains will be lesser. Now, if you do a lot of training, you still get structural gains. But compared to laying on your back and doing incline bicep curls or laying on a flat bench and doing curls where you're getting like crazy stretch, you feel like your biceps going to snap, your pec's going to snap. When you're training like that, you're tearing the muscle to bits, and it's a very different training stimulus. It doesn't matter about the weight and the sets and reps as much as it matters about the movement selection. And this is the biggest revelation in strength training in a long time. Like that's why ATG works. And coaches don't understand this. There's still the dominant paradigm in the research and from the research-based coaches until recently has been it's you're working a certain muscle group and you need to think about the volume of work that you do for that muscle group. That's been the dominant paradigm. That paradigm is broken. It doesn't work when you're talking about, especially if you're talking about injury prevention and rehabilitation. If you're talking about maximal hypertrophy, it also doesn't work. It's just an archaic way. It's like black and white TV versus, the new TVs, full color, flat screen, 3D, whatever. When you've got better logic, you can program better and you can get better results with less injuries, less niggles, less frustrations. I used to always get like tendonitis in my biceps whenever I started working on the one-arm chain and getting quite close to it. I kind of accepted that if I was going to squat more, my knees were going to hurt. If I was going to get close to one-arm chain, my biceps were going to hurt. And most people had accepted that. Like people doing other people's programs, like that was the experience they were getting as well. Now it's not like that. Nothing hurts anymore when I'm using this logic. And of course, if you do go too much volume and too much long range work, it'll hurt and you'll hurt yourself, but you know exactly why you hurt yourself and you know exactly what to do about it. So the logic of reverse out knee pain actually works at every joint in the body, like a dream. And so, there's a coach called Dawson Wyndham, who's a powerlifter who's dived really deep into ATG. He's pushing for world records in powerlifting, super smart guy, does online coaching and stuff. He's like crazy good in long range. He's the only powerlifter I've ever seen who can, he can do barbell dislocates. He can do the ATG stuff really well. He's huge and he's pushing for world records in powerlifting and he's supple. And so it just smashes the paradigm of all these powerlifters who've been like, no, just get tight as shit and they can't, bend over, they can't touch their toes. They buy into this concept of like the rigid spine and all that sort of stuff. You can do it that way and be successful because most of them are doing it that way, but you can also use the ATG logic and get a phenomenal result while still having a body that actually works. And maybe it actually potentiates strength further. That's, I think, what Dawson is going to prove because he's N=1 and he's close to breaking a world record. So it's very difficult to do with that. If we had 1,000 of these and 1,000 of those, I'm pretty sure this 1,000 would lift a lot heavier a lot sooner because they avoid injuries. But will that study, when's that study going to happen? I don't know. I think research actually needs to be massively disrupted by technology as well. If we can do research through the ATG app, or if research can be done in that way, if we can make collaborations. I know Ben's been speaking a lot with Squat University. Mm-hmm. I think like if these worlds can come together in the near future, where academia and the people who are actually getting the really good results and have funding and things, if those things could come together in a really transparent, honest way, I think that would be huge for the strength training world.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's interesting because like there's a lot of different systems out there, and some of them, like in particular, a lot of the people that we're talking about, they're high level, they're really driven, they're really most likely very type A and athletically in a good position. So some programs, basically the cream will rise to the top and everyone else might get broken on the way up, and they just get forgotten about, and you see the testimonials of the people who make it through. But it seems that the ATG system is very much built around like longevity, like you feel better doing it. And it does seem to be a very like legitimate approach versus just giving someone a ton of volume and just the freaks will get through. And, you know, you don't see all the people who got broken on the way through the journey, right?
Yeah. If 80% of people are getting a result on your program, you're doing really well. As if it's a generic program and you're getting, if 20% of people are getting results, everyone's going to get some results, but it's the ratios and the feedback, and I think it's a good concept that you're bringing forward there.